Welcome to day number 1. One of the things you'll figure out in this course is that we're going to be spending a lot of time on our entire body. And one of the main reasons is that balance comes from a lot of different things throughout our entire body, and we just get to express it when we're on our feet. So what we're going to start with today is going to be right at the very bottom, and it's going to be the bottom of our feet. So what you're going to need for today is a ball. It doesn't have to be particularly soft or hard. It's up to you. You can probably use one on the harder end, like a lacrosse ball or even a baseball if you have that for today. But towards the end of the day today, you're going to need something a little bit softer because we're going to be using it a little higher up. So you're going to get a ball, and you're going to kick the shoes off if you're wearing shoes. And what we're going to do is we are going to work on the bottom of our feet. So the bottom of our feet is one of the ways that our brain knows what the floor is like and how it feels and where it is through getting a really good sensation in the bottom of our feet. So all we're going to do is we're going to get that ball down on the ground, and we're going to get digging into the bottom of our foot. And all we're going to do is we're going to roll it around front to back. So for now, what we're going to do is spend a little bit of time rolling straight front to back, and then we're going to do a little side to side, and we're going to do the same thing on the other foot. So get that ball on the ground, get towards the front of your chair. If you want to, you can even lean forward to get into it a little bit, and we're just going to roll straight front to back for maybe 10 or 20 seconds here. And just while you're doing this, one of the main reasons that we do this is because if we wear shoes all the time, and if we're on flat surfaces all the time, a lot of the parts of the bottom of our foot don't get the stimulation and the input that they're used to because our foot is developed over time to be able to interact with a complex ground, stepping on roots and rocks and those sorts of things. And so if we don't kind of take something like a ball and dig it into all the nooks and crannies on the bottom of our feet, a lot of the time the nerves that are supposed to sense what's going on in the floor in those areas, they just start going a little bit more calm. So we want to wake them up, get the bottom of our foot a little more excited about what's going on underneath, and we're just using a ball to do that. Okay, so we've gone front to back on one side. Let's switch over to the other side. And we're going to do the same thing. Try to let your foot relax if you can. And again, just roll straight front to back. And you can do it right down the middle of your foot. You can do it a little more towards the outside, a little bit more towards the inside. Doesn't really matter how fast or slow you do it. For the most part, as long as we're digging in, that's more important. So try to let your toes relax. They're probably going to curl over the ball as you do this. If you can let it relax, generally it'll dig in a little bit more. All right, we've done a little more on the other side. So let's go back to the first one again. And what I want you to do with the ball this time is I want you to put it right under the ball of your foot, so kind of the biggest knuckle at the base of your toes. And all we're going to do is we're going to roll side to side this time, kind of back and forth underneath the ball of our foot. You're not going to go very far, but one of the main reasons is that those knuckles in there, a lot of the time, they don't get to articulate past each other when we're wearing shoes or when we're on a flat floor. So a lot of the time they kind of stay as one big knuckle that attaches all your toes to each other. And we want all the different pieces to kind of move past each other back and forth. And that'll wake up the sensors in our foot a little bit. So we're just going to go side to side and through there. Now let's switch over to the other side. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to get it underneath the ball of our foot, starting under the big toe, rolling towards the pinky toe, and just going back and forth. You can leave your heel on the ground and just have the ball of your foot on the ball itself. Just roll back and forth. So this is the kind of thing that it wouldn't hurt for you to do this just throughout the day, anytime you're seated, or even if you want to sit and watch a television show or something of that sort, or a movie. If you have the opportunity to do it, just roll the bottom of your feet. It's one of the things that will help a lot over time to kind of wake up the bottom of your feet a little bit, to get them feeling their environment a little bit more, which is one of the ways that will help to improve our balance. All right, we're done with the ball for now. The next exercise that we're going to do is a seated twist. So one of the things that happens over time, especially if we've had an injury on one side and not on the other, one of the things that happens is our body kind of preferentially loads one leg over the other. So one of the things that we're going to do over the next few days is we're going to try to get our body used to twisting both directions and loading in both directions so that our brain and our nervous system can get used to putting some weight on both sides. So all you need to do is get into your chair, get into a somewhat upright position, For most people, one of the easiest things to do is to take their right hand, put it on the outside of their left knee, and then you're just going to pull. And you can take your left hand and put it on the outside of your left hip. Then you're going to pull to try to twist your spine over to one side and then come back. And you do the same thing the other way. You can take your left hand, put it on the outside of your right knee, take your right hand and put it on the outside of your right hip. And same thing, you're going to kind of shove with this hand and pull with this one to where you're going to pull yourself into a twist. It'll feel like quite a stretch for some people. And then you're going to come back again. So all we're going to do is we're just going to go back and forth 10 times total. So it will end up being 5 per side. If you want, you can use your own leg and your own hip as leverage. If you want to, you can even grab onto a chair like this, twist yourself even further. It's entirely up to you. So I just want you to make sure that if you've had back problems and you're at all worried about them, that you go very slowly and you ease into this. But what we want is to get our spine kind of ringing out a little bit so that it's used to going in the full range of motion in both directions. That will really help to give our brain a sense of our capacity to be able to load in both directions. And again, it will help to improve our balance in the long run. So let's do 10 total repetitions alternating, where we go to the left, hold for a second, go to the right, hold for a second, and then repeat for 10 total reps. Okay? Start that one now. And now I've just got 1 rep left here. Good. And that's it for the twists for today. We're going to do variations of that on most days, and a lot of that is just something we're going to try to get our core and our midsection used to loading the same left to right. So the next exercise that we're going to do is called gaze stabilization. So gaze is exactly as the word sounds, like you gaze upon something and you look at something. You let your eyes rest on that thing. And stabilization is exactly that. We try to keep our gaze held. So one of the things that tends to happen over time is that we get, it becomes more difficult for us to hold a gaze on something as we move through space. So gaze stabilization is one of those things that happens when you're reading a sign but you're walking, or when you're driving in your car and you see something on the side of the street and you have to be able to keep your eyes on it as you move. So gaze stabilization involves us looking at a target and moving our head. So the way that we're going to start that today is going to be just through looking directly at something in front of us and moving our head slowly side to side. Over time, what we're going to do is we're going to go a little bit faster side to side, and we're going to go a little bit faster top to bottom. So gaze stabilization helps our brain and our body to match our neck, our inner ear, and our visual system all together to be able to make sense of what's going on in our environment. So for most people, this is going to be a little bit dizzying. Just know that even if you're perfectly healthy and you've never had a dizziness-related issue, this is going to be mildly dizzying for most people. Don't worry, it will go away. So for most people, it's going to maybe be 10 seconds or 30 seconds or maybe a little bit longer of them feeling a little bit wobbly. And this is why we do this. It actually is going to challenge our ability to balance and to control dizziness. So all you've got to do is you can either look directly at the screen in front of you and move your head, or if you want, you can put a finger out in front of you, give yourself a thumbs up, and move your head relative to that. Generally speaking, at about arm's length is how far away we want the target. It doesn't matter what the target is. So you're going to move your head just barely off to either side. So if you think of it as your nose, you're going to aim your nose only about 20 degrees off to one side and about 20 degrees off to the other side. So 90 degrees would be all the way over, 45 would be halfway, and you're only going halfway to that. It's not very far. So you're going to be moving about this far, almost as if you're just shaking your head. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 20 total repetitions. So one repetition will be all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and then back again. So it will look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So most of the time, people can do a few repetitions. They feel entirely fine. 20 to 30 repetitions, you'll start to get a little bit dizzy. That's exactly what we're going for. So just know that. Don't be afraid of that feeling. It's going to feel like the room is spinning a little bit. Just make sure that you're seated in a nice stable position before you begin. Okay? So what I don't want you to do is to try to know exactly how many reps I'm doing by looking at me because you're going to be moving your head. So all you've got to do is do it as long as I'm doing it. I'm going to count out 20 repetitions for myself. If it ends up you do 10, great. If it ends up you do 30, that's great. Just know that we're going to take a short break afterwards to let the dizziness subside a little bit, okay? So you're going to sit up straight, make sure that you're nice and stable, make sure you're holding on to something if you need to be holding on just for balancing purposes, and we're going to start by turning our head to the left and then to the right and then back again, and we're going to do this at approximately the pace I'm going right now for 20 reps. Start now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, last one, 20. Good. And then take a breath, and if you need to, you can close your eyes for just a second. A lot of people will get a little bit dizzy with that. There's a chance that if you went too fast or you went too far with your neck, you got dizzier than you needed to be. So for most people, remember, it's just a mild little turn of their head. It's not meant to be anything extravagant. All we're going to be doing is a little bit of a shake of our head. So once you feel like the dizziness has mostly subsided, and you can actually look at me on your screen again, and you can pay attention to what I'm doing, we're going to do the exact same thing. I want you to make sure it's very small, only we're going to be going up and down. So we're going to be nodding this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So some people are going to have it a little more dizzy side to side. Other people are going to have a little more dizzy top to bottom. That's entirely fine. It doesn't mean anything just besides the fact that one of them is going to be more sensitive for most people than the other. So all I want you to start with is just practice a couple of rounds of keeping your eyes on the screen or on a thumb in front of you, depending on how far away from the screen you are. And you're just going to keep an eye on one spot, keep your eyes on one spot, and do some nodding just to see exactly how that feels. So for most people, you're going to get a little bit of crackling in your neck. That's fine. It's going to be kind of hard to hold on to visually. That's fine. We're going to try anyway. All I want you to do is, if you can't hold on to the target visually, meaning if you get double vision or it starts to move around on you a lot, just slow down. Slow down and go a little bit smaller, okay? So for now, we're going to do 20 more repetitions. So same thing, sit up straight, find the target locked out in front of you, and we're going to do 20 nods where we go up 20 degrees, down 20 degrees, and then back again, okay? Let's do 20 repetitions starting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And then relax again. Good. So most people will find looking away from the target for a second will help. You can close your eyes if you feel like it made you a little bit dizzy. That's entirely normal if it did make you dizzy. And then once you're back to normal again, we're going to move on. So over time, what we want is to be able to do that for more repetitions or to be able to do it a slight bit faster. The easiest way to keep track of this, if you want to, is to use a metronome. And you can use that on a smartphone app or an iPad app, or you can find them online on YouTube, just to give you a certain amount of beats per minute. And over time, you can go a little bit faster on them. But if that's not the main thing you want to work on, you can just follow along with me, and I'll go a slight bit faster every time we do it. The last exercise that we're going to do for today is going to be a little bit of self-massage around our neck. So you're going to need the same ball that we used earlier or something a little bit softer. So for the most part, I've got, it's called a yoga tune-up ball or a tune-up fitness ball. You can use a soft lacrosse ball, you can use a tennis ball. There's a lot of different things that you can use. A lacrosse ball is about right for most people. So all we're going to be using is we're going to be working on the muscles that essentially connect the back of our ears together. So there's this loop that goes from the back of one ear to the back of the other ear in here, all along there. That little horseshoe shape on the back has a lot of different muscles that our brain uses to get information about where our head is in space, and hence it helps a lot with balance. So all we're going to do is we're going to take that ball, we're going to put it right in the middle of the back of our skull, roll it down until it hits the base of the very top of our neck, and then we're going to pull it off to one side with one hand. We're going to roll around in these muscles in here. So we're going to do that just for about 10 seconds on the left side and then the right side. Okay? So get that ball into position here. It's right where your skull meets your neck, off to the left side a little bit. And then we're going to roll around for about 10 seconds. Start that now. Good. And then let's call it for that side. That one can be kind of fatiguing on the shoulders. I understand. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to find the very top of our neck where it meets our skull and then roll off to the side just a little bit. And we're going to roll around in there for about 10 seconds. So you can start that right now. Good. So there's about 10 seconds on that side. If you feel like doing more, I'd encourage you to do a little bit more time on each side, as this will usually help a lot in the long run. That's it for day number 1. Look forward to seeing you on day number 2.